Good day, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Andrew the Chart Whisperer here, and happy Monday, people. It's Monday, 20th of July, and we're witnessing together another London opening. Welcome, everyone. Type your questions if you have any questions. This one is going to be a short one. I just want to show you what will happen with the market opening, what's predicted to happen with the market opening today. So, very good morning again, wherever you are in the world. Let's see what are the topics for the week. First of all, Microsoft, Amazon, and Tesla, and hundreds of other companies to announce earnings figures this week. Yes, that's right, guys. We're in the middle of the earnings season where the big companies are announcing their earnings for the last quarter. Very good time to trade stocks, very good time to trade indices, as these companies and their results will definitely change the price of indices. They will create some volatility out there. On the US front, we have the new and existing home sales in the spotlight this week, along with jobless claims and crude oil inventories. Also, producer manufacturing index preliminary data are due for UK and US. I'll show you the economic calendar in a couple of minutes. So as you got used to by now, I will show you a few very interesting articles. We will witness together the buying or the selling power at the market opening, and I will provide you with some trading signals from trustable sources. First of all, let's see how the dollar performed last week. Guys, I'm going to have a quick look at, let's say, USD JPY and see how the dollar closed. Mark Chandler at investing.com is saying that the US dollar was mixed last week. Sentiment appears tilted against it, but it has not convincingly broken down. The euro continues to flirt with the 114 area, and the Australian dollar has stalled near 0.7000 level. There does appear to be more favorable reassessment of Europe, and this is borne out in several ways, include speculative positions in the futures market, industry surveys of asset managers, and in the positive correlation between the returns of the euro and the S&P 500, which is also a proxy for risk assets. European currencies have begun outperforming the other major currencies. That was from Mark Chandler at investing.com, guys. Let's move on. Let's read let's have a look at the economic calendar first of all and see what the week reserves for us. As usual, I have set my economic calendar at GMT +3, which is Europe time, and I've only highlighted the medium importance events and the high importance events. So, a fairly quiet day today in the Eurozone, apart from the German producer price index that already came out at 0%, was just below expectation. Therefore, we might see the euro pulling back a bit. Then in 56 minutes, again, we have a statement from European Central Bank. Again, expect a bit of volatility on the euro. I'll tell you why in the next couple of minutes. Later on today, again, another press conference from Bank of England. So we might see a bit of volatility on the pound. I'll show you what's expected with the pound in a couple of minutes. Let's see what is expected to happen tomorrow in the economic calendar. We're starting the day very, very early with Royal Bank of Australia meeting minutes, followed by a press conference from Royal Bank of Australia. So very early in the morning on the Asian session, we expect a bit of volatility on the Aussie dollar and its peers. Then later on in the afternoon, around 3:30 Europe time, we have core retail sales and new housing price index on the Canadian dollar, accompanied by retail sales as well. Again, a bit of volatility expected tomorrow afternoon after 4 o'clock Europe time in the Eurozone, as we have another two statements from European Central Bank and the German bank. Then on Wednesday, guys, we have retail sales on the Aussie dollar very early in the morning, still on the Asian trading session, followed by core consumer price index year to year and monthly on the Canadian dollar, followed by another press conference from Germany, which will impact the euro, and then a few announcements on the US dollar. The most important ones are existing home sales and crude oil inventories, like every other Wednesday, guys. On Thursday, again, we have initial jobless claims on the US dollar in the afternoon at 3:30 Europe time, which is the American opening. Then on Friday, we're going to close the week with lots of announcements on coming from the Eurozone, from UK, and also from US. Okay, very, very heavy week in the economic calendar. Now, let's read a very, very interesting article, guys, which was released around 2 hours ago. Japan's sinking exports raise risk of prolonged economic downturn at home and overseas. Let's see what this article has to say about the Japanese yen. Japan's export plunged at a double-digit pace for the fourth month in a row in June, backing signs the coronavirus crisis had knocked the economy into its worst post-war recession and raising the specter of a longer and more painful global downturn. US-bound Japanese shipments nearly halved again due to plummeting demand for cars and auto parts, while exports to China remained weak, pointing to the absence of a strong growth engine for the world economy. Ministry of Finance data showed today that Japan's exports dived 26.2% in June from a year earlier, bigger than 24.9% decline seen by economists in a Reuters poll. The contraction slowed slightly from the prior month's 28.3% fall, the worst downturn since September 2009. So again, guys, this COVID crisis is weighing heavily on the global economy, and we can feel the changes at the fuel pump. We can feel the changes in shops. We can feel the changes everywhere around us. Global demand for cars and other durable goods has sunk since March as the pandemic prompted many countries to lock down. Though more countries have now started reopening their economies, analysts say the trade data could diminish hopes for a quick rebound in global market and global demand and Japan's export-led economy, especially given the resurgence of coronavirus cases in major economies like the United States, Brazil, and India. More importantly, the International Monetary Fund last month forecast global output will shrink by 4.9% this year versus a 3% contraction predicted in April. And it also predicted a slower recovery in 2021 with growth of 5.4% for the year compared with 5.8% rise seen in April. So very, very interesting news. Again, apparently the exports and the imports from Japan have dropped massively, which translates into a lot of potential selling power on the Japanese yen against all its other peers. Now let's move on to the charts, guys. As I promised, I will provide you a few trading signals, but first I have two more very interesting articles which I want to run by you, again from Mark Chandler at investing.com. Let's see what will happen. I will start with the dollar index, which basically measures the strength of the US dollar against all its other peers. Okay, there you go. This is the dollar index. We can clearly see the dollar index dropping below the 200 moving average for quite some time now. Let's move on to a daily chart. There you go. Okay, big drop in the US dollar index. Very, very shy recovery followed by another downtrend. The RSI and the stochastic are both at its lows. Okay, and the drop in the US dollar started on the 2nd of the month. Now, let's see what is expected from the US dollar, from the dollar index. The 4-week skid for the dollar index is the longest in nearly a year and a half. It brought it within a few ticks of 3-month low set on June 10, near 95.70. Below their technical analysis, technical levels are sparse until the year's low set on March 9, near 94.65. The MACD is drifting lower, but the slow stochastic appears poised to turn up. The lower Bollinger Band is near 95.90 on the upside. The 96.70, 96.80 area may provide a cap. Right, what are we trying to say? As you can see, if we draw a trend channel on the dollar index, okay, we can clearly see the downtrend, yeah, which is also supported by the 200 moving average. And if we draw this trend channel at the bottom, we will see that the price tends to bounce between these two lines as long as the asset stays in a downtrend. So what's expected now for the US dollar, for the dollar index? Yeah, very short term in the next few hours, yeah, we might see it pushing a bit higher. Remember, guys, today is Monday, so we need to wait for the American opening to see exactly what will happen. So apparently, we have a very important support level somewhere there around that price, around the 95.85 level. Okay, depends very much on the market opening. If the markets open a bit lower, if they open somewhere there, then it might be good for sell for a few hours. If the market open a bit higher, then it might be good for buy for a few hours. But if you're going for the long or the short position, keep an eye on these two levels because very likely they are the take profit levels for a long or short position. Okay, so for investment advice is just a humble opinion based on what the charts are showing us. You don't have to follow my actions, but this is how you do a bit of technical analysis to time your entry and adjust your take profit and stop loss. Now let's move on and have a look at the euro. Let's see what is expected to happen with the euro today. The euro's 4-week rally is the longest since early 2018. Although it has traded and closed above the 114 ceiling, it continues to straddle it. It has yet to spend the entire session above it, and the momentum indicators suggest there might be one more push higher before a corrective phase unfolds. Yeah, before we see that tiny pullback. Okay, the markets opened a few minutes ago. We can see a short pullback, yeah, after 4 or 5 hours of upwards momentum. Again, it's completely natural, guys. It's normal to have this tiny pullback. The RSI and the stochastic, as you see, are pointing downwards. Therefore, this pullback tends to be valid. However, looking at the RSI, we see that the RSI recently didn't have the power to go all the way to the oversold level, indicating usually a strong momentum, a strong upwards trend. Okay, again, this is from the technical point of view. Now, let's have a quick look and see what investing.com has to say about Euro USD. What trading signals will they provide us for today? As you can see, guys, yeah, on a 5-minute chart, we're looking at sell position followed by strong buy positions on a 15 minutes, an hourly, and a daily chart. Also, my technical analysis pointed in the same direction, basically around above the 114.10 level. I saw great potential for a long position with an exit around the 114.70, maybe 114.80. Okay, currently the euro is trading at 140.50. Okay, so my take profit for this position, this is my suggestion, yeah, based on what I see on the charts. Again, it might take the entire day until that happens, guys. It has very much to do with the buying and the selling pressure on the market. So my take profit, if I want to be very, very cautious, yeah, we'll go somewhere in that region. Okay, after the pullback. So what usually happens, guys, you see a pullback, and if this uptrend is strong, if there's enough buying power on the markets, then after this pullback, we will see a push towards the upside. Very good entry level for beginner traders or even for experienced traders will be somewhere there after the pullback. Okay, again, guys, please note this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. It's all at the mercy of the markets, of the traders, but this is how I would judge the charts, yeah, based on what indication I have right now. Yeah, so short pullback is expected for the next hour or a couple of hours, let's say, followed by a push towards the upside with a take profit around the 1470, 1480 level. It's entirely up to you how cautious you want to be on this one. Now, let's move on. Let's have a quick look at gold and see what is happening with gold, guys. Again, let's consult investing.com charts and trading signals. I will click on commodities and see what they have to say about gold today. All right, at the market opening, gold is showing a strong sell, followed by a very shy buy position on 15 minutes and an hourly, and followed by a strong buy on a daily chart. The technical analysis I performed showed me, where are we? Let's go back on the gold charts. There we are. So the technical analysis I performed a couple of hours ago showed me that a level above 1803 has great potential for a long position with an exit around 1815, 1820 levels. Okay, 1820, it's there. Okay, there you go. All right, for now, gold price remains supported by the 200 moving average. We might see a small pullback. Very important to keep an eye on this level, guys, where the 200 moving average is, okay, which is the 1805. Okay, so for now, short term, we might see a small, short term pullback, and if all goes well, then that is our target for the long positions. Again, preferably with an entry somewhere there once you get your confirmations, and once you get your confirmations from the technical indicators, guys. Remember, these technical indicators are your trading partners. They increase the chances of you getting it right and timing your entry. Very important to time your entry, guys, so you don't have a big drawdown on your trades. Now, if the price decides to go below the 200 moving average, guys, then we're looking at a potential sell position with an exit around the 18,000 mark. Okay, sorry, 1800 mark, somewhere there. As you can see, there is the previous low for gold. There you go. You can see 3 previous lows. Okay, and this is the range. This is its comfort zone. So now it's ranging between 1800, yeah, with 1820 at its tops. Okay, so somewhere in there, we're just halfway. We're somewhere in between. Somewhere in there, you have to decide based on what indicators are showing you, based on what US dollar is doing, based on what the dollar index is doing, if you want to enter with a buy or a sell position on the gold. Okay, gold is turning to neutral short term. So now the hourly charts and the daily charts are still pointing to a strong buy later on in the day. Okay, for now, it's entirely up to you guys how you want to play it. this is what is happening with the charts. Now let's move on. Let's move on. Let's look at the cable, guys, or at the GBP USD. The technical analysis I performed a few hours ago was showing me that a level below 125.55 indicates for a sell position with a take profit around the 125 flat. The 125 flat, guys, again, it's somewhere here. This level, there we are. Okay, and we can clearly see the pound pushing a bit higher. Now we can break it down into a very narrow range and into a wider range, and then based on what the indicators are showing us and based on the events in the economic calendar, we decide if we want to enter with a buy or a sell position. One thing that got my attention is that the RSI recently down there didn't manage to get to the overbought level, which is 70 or above. And usually when it's trading in the lower part of the chart indicates a potential downtrend. Also, the market not being able to create higher highs, there you go, again indicates for a potential downtrend. Let's have a quick look and see what investing.com has to say about it. We're looking at forex currency pairs. Yeah, and we're looking at pound US dollar. The pound shows on investing.com on all time frames shows a buy position. All right, so then your take profit, if you decide to go for a buy position, in this case, will be somewhere there if you want to keep it very, very conservative. Yeah, not higher than the previous high, which is there. Okay, so you're looking at a potential take profit around 126.28. Okay, if it decides to go all the way there, if it decides to go towards the lower side, yeah, then you're looking at a take profit around the 125.26, somewhere in that region. Again, there's no exact figure. It's all a game of averages. As long as you play your averages right, you're increasing the chances of being successful. Now, another interesting pair, since we're here, is the GBP JPY. Let's have a quick look at the GBP JPY. There we go. GBP JPY, again, it looks very, very similar to the GBP USD chart. The GBP JPY indicated a couple of hours ago a sell position below 134.50 with a take profit around 133.70 or below. Now it's trading at 134.75. So again, the RSI is still pointing upwards, yes, so we might be looking at a take profit level there for a long position, yeah, around the 135 level. Okay, we're just short of that. If it decides to go down today, if we have a lot of selling power on the markets today, then we're looking at a potential take profit somewhere there in that region at 134.20. Okay, for now, very, very interesting to follow where the pound will go next. Again, my personal opinion, based on what the indicators are showing and what the markets are showing, if everything goes smooth, I think we will see the pound pushing towards the 135 level today against the Japanese yen. The reason being, you saw the news a few minutes ago coming from Japan, yeah, that everything imports, exports shrunk and the economy was hit heavily. That usually translates into a lot of selling power on the local currency. In our case, if the Japanese yen is in the right-hand side of the currency pair, then this might translate into buying power on the pound, okay, versus the Japanese yen. Very interesting correlation, very, very interesting stuff. Now, Let's move on and have a look at oil. Okay, let's see what is going to happen with oil. What is expected to happen from the markets? As you can clearly see, guys, oil looks like a sell position. Okay, just one look at the chart, and this is what the technical analysis is indicating. The analysis I performed on Brent earlier on was that if the Brent goes below 43.10, it's good to sell with targets at 42.65 or even 42.40 in extension. The charts are almost identical. Okay, we see the European opening putting a bit of pressure on oil. Actually, the pressure started since the Asian session opened, yes, 7-8 hours ago. You can see the last few candlesticks, they are pointing downwards. Quick look on investing.com and see what they think it's going to happen with oil today. There you go, guys. Strong sell on most of the time frames on crude oil and Brent oil. Remember, the charts are almost identical, just the price differs a bit. So strong sell, strong sell, strong sell short term for oil. Very likely today we will see oil dropping a bit lower. I am very tempted to say that is the level you should have in mind. Okay, somewhere there in that region. So we're looking at $40 per barrel. Will we see oil dropping another 30 cents to reach $40 per barrel today? Very, very likely, guys, taking into consideration the technical indicators, the news, the technical analysis, and the signals provided from investing.com. Okay, very, very interesting, isn't it? It's not that difficult to analyze the charts. It's not that difficult to place a few trades as long as you understand the basics, guys. All right, let's have a quick look at the Bitcoin, guys, and see how Bitcoin is doing today. Bitcoin. Again, it's trading just above $9,000. It's trading around 9,165. Had a good rally yesterday. Remember, Bitcoin is and cryptocurrencies are the only asset class that can be traded 24/7, 365 days a year. Usually, Bitcoin tends to move a lot on a Sunday. I don't know the reason, guys. I've been following Bitcoin for quite a while as well, and this is what I've noticed. Probably not being centralized, people tend to do some transactions on a Sunday. People that don't work on a Sunday, they tend to look into investments. God knows what triggers the price to move so much on a Sunday, but yeah, you can see its movement from there to there. That was yesterday only, yeah, because we're on a 1 hour chart and every candlestick in this case represents 1 hour. Okay, so Bitcoin is still trading around 9,000. It's been raging recently. Let me draw some support resistance levels. Okay, I'll get the closest ones. Okay, so Bitcoin has been raging recently between 9,000 and 9,300. Okay, but there is potential for more. There is potential for more. The RSI and the stochastic, if it matters, they indicate a small pullback. We might see the Bitcoin reaching the 9,000 mark today. Nothing spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary. A lot of a very wide range for the Bitcoin. Overall, we see a small decline since 1st of June. Okay, so since 1st of June, Bitcoin was trading at 10,000, almost 400, and today is trading at almost 9,000. We've seen better, we've seen worse. We all know that Bitcoin takes a long time to react, and usually the swing is very, very wide. All right. Okay, if you don't have any questions, guys, remember to join me tomorrow. Very, very important. Tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock London time, 8 o'clock South African time, 9 o'clock Europe time. Fantastic webinar with compliance and support. Forex Cube promotes transparency and fairness in trading. Therefore, we will introduce the lovely compliance department. You will understand what compliance is, how it works, and what sits behind the brokerage, what helps the brokerage work, and also the global awarded customer support guys. They're doing a very, very good job. They are your main connection point, yeah, between yourself and the brokerage. The guys from support work very hard to do and they do a really good job to keep everyone happy. This was it from my side today. Remember to join me every Monday, same time, same place for a market opening webinar. I'm going to come up with more and more information as we go along. And remember to join me every Tuesday evening. Yeah, London time, it's 7 o'clock p.m. South African time is 8 o'clock p.m. And GMT plus 3 Europe is 2100 hours, yeah, or 9 p.m. Trade carefully, guys. Remember, don't keep all the eggs in one basket. Remember to trade responsibly and may all your trades be in the money. Andrew, the Chart Whisperer, over and out, and have a great week.